Hey there, it's Rachel here from the Workshop Whisperer, where we help auto repair shop owners just like you to achieve business success. Today, I want to share some lessons from the startup years, and they would be my own lessons from my own startup years, as well as what we see time and again from the challenges faced by many of you as we witness your journey as an auto repair shop owner, and particularly as we help our clients go beyond the startup years to really increase their monthly revenue and then go on to improve their profit levels. So what we're really talking about here are things that we see shop owners do between startups, so $0 a month, and about the $35,000 per month mark. So when you're over $35,000 a month and you're starting to push towards 50 and beyond, if it's done correctly, then your journey through to $100,000 a month or more can be a much smoother ride. But there's things that we see time and again that get people caught in struggle for much longer than they otherwise would be if they just put some attention around these few things. So the first of these lessons, and I'm going to share 3 with you today, and then I will come back and share some more. And I'm just going to switch over my screen. The first lesson is actually that the new shop owner prices with the market rather than running their own race. So by pricing with the market, I mean that the new business owner comes in and they basically gauge what they should be charging off the rest of the market, so the rest of the shop owners around them, and they try and be close to the cheapest, unfortunately. So what this actually does is right from the start put them on the back foot, and it means straight away you're playing a price game. And early on, between $0 and $35,000 a month, if you don't cotton onto the concept that the goal of business is not to have the most amount of customers, but rather make the most money. If you don't cotton onto that early, you will, for much longer than you should, be playing a game of being cheapest and trying to have the most people coming through your shop. So we really need to get that through our heads as early as possible. The goal of business is to make the most money, not have the most customers. Now, some of you will straight away turn around to me and say, money's not everything. Well, unless you're a non-profit, or unless you are already a multi-7-figure or 8-figure business and you are financially free, money is the goal. Money is the goal for you right now until you are free. So what we're really trying to understand here is that startups come into the market in order to get customers. They automatically think, got to be the cheapest. In order to work out that you're the cheapest, you go and do your research from everyone else, and you come back and you price yourself. And most startups feel like they have to scramble to take any work at all. And I certainly remember being there, and it's really hard to say no to work when you've got to pay the bills. But the sooner we can become aware that we have an ideal type of client who will pay our price, provided we deliver value, the sooner we can let go of this fear that we have to have everyone as our customer. So one of the things that we need to do as soon as we start trading is we need to know what makes us a profit. So what is, first of all, going to be the break-even figure for our business each day? We need to know that when we start up, because we wouldn't be doing those really cheap, crappy jobs if we knew that it wasn't going to help contribute towards us just paying the bills. So that's first of all, know what our break-even figure is. Start working with an accountant straight away, not just at the end of your first year when you need your tax done. Know what this number is. We want to get away from this idea of being known as the cheapest when we first start up, because that attracts the wrong type of customer. And remember, again, I'm going to say it again, the goal of business is not to have the most customers, it is to make the most money. So from there, the next thing that we see is that the owner struggles through without help for far too long. We're not identifying who our next hire should be soon enough. So when we think about this, we usually see the shop owner who is working, from dawn till dusk every day of the week. And they get in this habit of thinking that that's what they must do. They must do it that way for the next few years in order to basically get a leg up. So what we're looking for here is recognizing that once you as the owner, if you start on your own without any team, once you feel like you are physically at capacity, you need to start looking for that next hire so that you can fill them up if it's going to be a technician that you hire, freeing you to bring in more work because you can still work on tools part of the time. Or we need to recognize that you should spend all of your available time on the tools, and we need to look at putting somebody in as even part-time service advisor. We see that shop owners will often wait years and therefore be in the struggle far longer than they need to be because they're too afraid to hire somebody because they're afraid of what that will do to their personal income. You get caught in a catch-22 situation here because the business won't grow if you don't get help. And you can't have any kind of a life unless you get help. And you do need to invest the money to make that happen. So we need to be strategically looking at where will I make the most money. Early on, it's likely being on the tools. So getting help in customer service and in the office is often the best place to go. But this in itself usually brings about, or in a lot of cases brings about, the life partner of the technician owner coming in to support in the business in some way. So life partner might be at home raising kids or have a career herself. And often that is placed on pause to come and help out because that is the most financially viable thing to do. And that solves a problem in the short term, but it can create a problem in the longer term because that means that there's now two of you who need to have the key person risk removed from you if you're to have any meaningful time off while the shop remains open. So we need to identify earlier how we can leverage our time as the shop owner. So if your partner comes into the business to help, let's make sure that we have an exit plan or a very clear set of guidelines around how that looks long term. Because one of the biggest issues that we end up helping our engine room clients with is removing that key person risk from both of you. So let's look more strategically in the startup years around who the next best person is to hire to make more money, and eventually that'll set the foundation for you being able to leverage your time. The third thing that I want to share with you as a lesson, and the final thing that I'll share with you today, is that in the startup years between $0 and $35,000 a month, we often see the owner trying to do the bookkeeping as a way of saving money, and they hold on to that for far too long, or that has been taken on by the personal partner of the owner, and the amount of time that takes up, because it doesn't come naturally, looking after the books, is the time cost actually outweighs the benefit that is being delivered. And it's something that these days, especially in Australia, can be so easily outsourced for, even $50 an hour and 2 or 3 hours a week. Remove all of that stress of having it up to date, so the BAS can be done on time, so that taxes can be lodged on time. And when they're not up to date, it's very hard for you to understand your true financial position. And that's why we get so many people coming through to us in the engine room that aren't as savvy with their financials as they would like to be, and they rely on their accountant to explain it. And if their accountant isn't doing a great job of explanation, or doesn't even take any time to help them learn their financials, we get some business owners that don't even realize that they're losing money hand over fist. So what we're looking at here as the third thing is holding on to bookkeeping for too long. So if you're able to, as you get down the track, holding on to bookkeeping, as you get down the track, to really start to think, do I enjoy doing the books? Does it cost me more energy than to do it? Am I exerting heaps of emotional and mental energy? And by the very nature of the fact that I don't enjoy it, am I putting it off, and it's actually making it really hard to understand our true financial position? If the answer to those things is no, I don't enjoy it, and yes, it's holding us back, then outsourcing to a bookkeeper should be your next right move. A couple of $100 a week. If you're in the early startup years, you may think that is a lot of money, and potentially it is, but you've got to think about the time that it wins you back to do something else in the business that will generate you more money. So if you're paying a bookkeeper $50 an hour for 2 to 3 hours a week, but you're selling your labor out at $130 an hour, and that 3 hours allows you to make $1,000, then I know which one I would be thinking is the smart move. So what I really wanted to share with you today is that if we get some of these foundational things right when we're in the startup revenue brackets of between $0 and about $35,000 a month, we will struggle far less as we move beyond $50,000 towards $100,000 a month or more than if we just, don't even bring these things into the spotlight, and to really focus on things that you would look back on later and say, I wish I'd known that then. So if you're in this startup phase now, which an enormous amount of people who are joining the Your Profitable Auto Repair Shop Facebook group are, more than we've ever seen before, then give some thought to these today, and think about how much they relate to what's going on inside your business at the moment. If you've already moved beyond $35,000 in monthly revenue, then do a quick check as to whether you're actually still doing some of these things. And if you are, then take the moves to make the correction, because otherwise your pathway to a 6-figure month is going to be slower or filled with more pain and struggle than it actually needs to be. So just looking back to recap on what we've spoken about. So lesson number 1, we price with the market for far too long. We don't identify early enough who our next hire should be, and then make a move to hire somebody to help us leverage our time. And we're holding on to bookkeeping for far too long. And we really need to do a calculation to see how much money we could be earning if we were to put our time each week towards activities that grow business revenue rather than on trying to do the books ourselves. So I commend you if you've put up with my terrible handwriting there on my iPad. So I hope you found those 3 things useful. I'll be back with some additional lessons from the startup years over the coming week. Let me know in the comments if you relate to any of that. And of course, if you've joined me live and if you've caught the replay later. Okay, have a great day.